All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. What is happening? Good to see you. And thanks for being here. We're live on X, on Rockfin, on YouTube. And it's Memorial Day. And I realize it's a holiday, but some people just need the news, man. Come on. I do. I've already done lots of fun things this weekend. So kind of trying to halfway work today, I guess. Anyways, thanks for being here. Good to see you. We're going to cover a couple of things today. Let's get into it. Let's get ready to rumble, even though we're not on Rumble, which doesn't necessarily make me super sad. I don't know. Fan of the free studio. But streaming on Rumble really hasn't done much for me as far as viewers. I really don't know. But doing anything anywhere doesn't really do much for me. And I feel like that is coordinated. So there's that. It gives me pause, don't you know? It makes me think. It makes me wonder. How all of my social medias could be absolutely shadow banned and squashed. Forever and ever, amen. But I guess it must mean that I'm saying something. But it's funny when the algorithms slip, when they slide away and they allow me to get some traction. It's just crazy how huge the difference is. I posted a music video. I don't know, maybe it was last year on TikTok when my TikTok account was. It's funny because my TikTok account has gone steadily down, just like my YouTube account, my TikTok music account. That is. First couple of videos I posted were, got, I don't know, so many views and so many likes, and so, everybody's like, "Hey, this is great." And one of the videos I posted was like, I don't know, super viral for about 5 minutes. Oh, 5 or 10 minutes into the video, I had like 1,600 views and like all kinds of likes, and everybody was commenting on it. Had just, comments and shares. And they were like, "Nope, not this guy." And they just shut it down completely. And I was like, "Oh, I can actually see that happening in real time. Interesting." Yeah. And then, so now, just like Instagram, just like YouTube, just like X, just like everywhere else, they just won't allow me to, even though I'm paying for my X account. As soon as I paid, they're like, here's some followers, have some followers. Here's the difference your $8 a month makes. I was like, oh, wow. Seems encouraging. And then 2 weeks later, they just knocked all those followers out. And I'm back to where I was like before, they're like, yeah, no, just kidding. Hardy har. Again, I guess I must be saying something that makes people, feel like they need to throttle me. So I suppose I would take that as a compliment and go on about my day and do other things. All right, let's look at this post. I actually was going to post this the other day or talk about this, and extreme temperatures around the world, absolute madness in the Middle East. 4 countries with 50 C temperatures: Iran, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan. Records in Iran, 51 and 49.5. Anyways, and it's Climate Watcher saying people think 1.5 C is survivable. We're past 1.5 C, by the way. So if you're playing climate bingo at home, we're past it. We're not going back. We're not staying under. We hit the guardrail and we're flying through the guardrail over the cliff. We're not staying on the road. That's how that's going. But meanwhile, there's a power grab and a money grab for what's left when you realize that the gig is up, or the jig, or however you want to put it. The giggity jig. You got to jump in the air and click your heels when you say that. Giggity jig. When the giggity jig is up, you just go for it. You know what I'm saying? So here is, I think Bella shared this with me somewhere. From Common Dreams, they're talking about Executive Order 14270. And it's a Trump executive order. On April 9th, 2025, U.S. President Donald Trump signed Executive Order 14270, blandly titled Zero-Based Regulatory Budgeting to Unleash American Energy. Behind that bureaucratic name is a sweeping directive: dismantle a century of environmental protections. Every regulation related to the environment, natural resources, or energy, whether it safeguards air, water, species, or public lands must be rewritten to serve polluters or vanish by default. Some will claim this is just about efficiency, but no standard review process sets a mass expiration date for protections, regardless of science, impact, or legal mandate. This is not streamlining, it is a countdown to erasure. While courts deliberate, rules will expire, enforcement will be suspended, polluters will act as if the rules are already gone. They already do anyways. They dare those rules to be enforced. Kind of like with international human rights. People just violate the rules and dare someone to enforce them. And everybody's like, nah, I guess we won't. So that's how that's going. This is not, anyways, what will remain will not be protection. It will not be science. It will not be law. It will be a hollow shell stripped of enforcement and public purpose. This is not reform. It is demolition. It is sabotage by executive order. To everyone who said they'd never go that far, they just did. And the collapse has already begun. With Executive Order 14270, Donald Trump issued not a policy revision, but a regulatory kill order. The EO mandates that all regulations under energy-related authority, especially those administered by agencies like the Environmental Protection Agency and the Departments of Interior and Energy, must be reviewed and either revised to align with the administration's priorities or be automatically terminated by September 30th, 2026. While for some agencies, the EO does not name specific laws, many foundational protections fall within these agencies' regulatory domains. Some may argue this is simply a regulatory reset or a call for modernization. This is not a review guided by science, need, or public interest. It is a mandate that requires rules to serve industry or disappear by default. There is no neutral path. There is no room for delay. If an agency fails to revise and reauthorize a rule in time, it expires, no matter how vital it is. Legal experts and environmental attorneys have described similar regulatory strategies by the previous Trump administration as calculated attempts to dismantle environmental protections from within. And for sure, that's what's happening. Even the rules that survive review will be rewritten, stripped of science and purpose, then repackaged as hollow compliance. This is not a bureaucratic obstacle. It is a regulatory kill switch. What that means in practice: Endangered Species Act gone, Migratory Bird Treaty Act gone, Marine Mammal Protection Act gone, Anadromous Fish Conservation Act under threat, Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act gone. These aren't just under review, they are all under attack. The laws everyone recognizes, such as Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, and the Endangered Species Act, are just the beginning. Beneath them lie hundreds of foundational rules that safeguard public health, climate resilience, environmental justice, and disaster readiness. Under Executive Order 14270, they are all at risk. Supporters may claim that the order only targets outdated or burdensome regulations, but the text applies broadly and indiscriminately. It sets no exceptions for essential rules, no protections for high-impact safeguards, and no criteria for public benefit. Unless these rules are rewritten to meet the new standards and reauthorized by September 30th, 2026, they will expire. Along with them goes the regulatory backbone of modern environmental protection. This is not theoretical. These laws will fall unless actively rescued. Key protections on the chopping block: Air, Water, and Public Health, Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, Safe Drinking Water Act, Toxic Substances Control Act, Superfund Cleanup Authority, Mercury and Air Toxics Standards. I will interject right here. That I do think, as I was saying, like, things are just not being enforced. Rules are not being enforced. And this has been going on for a long time. I'm not saying everything is not being enforced. I'm not saying that people aren't following the law. I'm not saying that, but no regulations are being obeyed, but there are a lot of regulations being flouted. by all kinds of industries and individuals, right? Because you could look at all of those acts saying that they are not living up to their purpose of safeguarding, clean drinking water, or right, that we are constantly violating those acts are constantly being violated. The boundaries are being pushed, right? And it may seem to some people that this order, or what the Trump administration is trying to do, is do better, be more efficient. But they are not going to, they're rolling these things back. They're not trying to enforce these things or make them better or more enforceable, or, any of those kinds of things. What we need is more oversight, not less. What we need is more enforcement, not less. Land and Resource Protection, Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, Surface Mining Control and Reclamation Act, Wilderness Act, Antiquities Act, Wild and Scenic Rivers Act, Federal Land Policy and Management Act, Energy and Climate Energy Policy Act of 2005, Greenhouse Gas Endangerment Finding, Energy Star Program, Oil Pollution Act of 1990. Each of these took years, sometimes decades, of organizing, science, and compromise to create. They were not handed down by elites. They were won by people who refused to accept poisoned air, burning rivers, and dead coastlines. And that's real. Again, how well were they being enforced, in recent days? Could be a lot of arguments on both sides. Each of these, now they are being erased in a single executive order, not one by one, all at once. This is not a rollback, it is erasure. Right? All under the guise of who's going to pay for it. How are you going to pay for it? We don't have the money to pay for it. And I would side with some people that maybe there are some things that are not, maybe some things that are bloated, some things that are not necessary, some things that might have, might do better with streamlining. But again, all of that would require more oversight, not less. A deep dive into what is being enforced, what's not being enforced, what's necessary, what's not necessary, right? I don't believe that this is going to make all of, any or all of these acts, these Environmental Protections Acts, going to make them better, resilient, stronger, etc. I don't believe it, not for 1 second. But the Trump administration is here to dismantle all kinds of things. And not necessarily to build, except for your dark AI overlords. That's what they're here to build. And build that they will. Right, let's move on. I thought this article was interesting. Don't know if I'm going to read the whole thing, but we'll talk about it a little bit. Google has a plan to have Hollywood make AI look less doomsday. Because all you hear right now is about the advent of AI or AGI, and how it's very, very scary. And even the people that are working on AI, even the creators of AI are like, maybe this might be a bad idea to release out into the world. But they're doing it anyways, regardless. So Google wants to, lighten it up a little bit. Inside Google's plan to have Hollywood make AI look less doomsday. For decades, Hollywood directors, including Stanley Kubrick, James Cameron, and Alex Garland, have cast artificial intelligence as a villain that can turn into a killing machine. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Did we lose sound, y'all? Everybody, can you hear me still? Please let me know. Oh, I see. Let me know if you can hear me real quick. Just got a message that my audio was disconnected, so I don't want to keep talking if that's still going on. So please, somebody let me know. Anybody. Any old body. Any old body. Okay, cool. Great. Thanks, man. Excuse me. And where are we? What happened here? Did I lose? What the heck? Am I imagining things? Hold on. I don't know what happened there. I'm confused. Okay. Okay, we're looking at this article. Google's plan to have Hollywood make AI less doomsday. For decades, Hollywood directors, including Stanley Kubrick, James Cameron, and Alex Garland, have cast artificial intelligence as a villain that can turn into a killing machine. Even Steven Spielberg's relatively hopeful AI artificial intelligence had a pessimistic edge to its vision of the future. Now Google, a leading developer in AI technology, wants to move the cultural conversations away from the technology as seen in The Terminator, 2001, A Space Odyssey, and Ex Machina. To do so, the Mountain View, California tech giant is funding short films about AI that portray the technology in a less nightmarish light. That's awesome, because, I'm sick of all the doomy stuff about it. I just want to hear some good news about AI, I think that's all we need is some good news. All right. The Google initiative called AI on Screen is a partnership with Santa Monica-based Range Media Partners, a talent management and production company that represents a wide variety of entertainment clients, including actors and writers. Range is producing the films. So far, 2 short films have been greenlit through the project. One titled Sweetwater tells the story of a man who visits his childhood home and discovers a hologram of his dead celebrity mother. Okay. Michael Keaton will direct and appear in the film, which is written by his son, Sean Douglas. It is the first project they are working on together. Okay. Sounds light. The other, Lucid, examines a couple who wants to escape their suffocating reality and risk everything on a device that allows them to share the same dream. Suffocating reality. Okay. Again, sounds very light. Sounds very chipper. Yes, Black Mirror, Jake Evans. Both of these don't exactly sound super light. They're talking to their dead mother. They're trying to escape an oppressive reality. Okay, tell me more about this positive spin on AI. The effort comes at a time when many Americans have mixed feelings about AI. A 2024 survey from Bentley University and Gallup showed that 56% of Americans see AI as doing equal amounts of harm and good, while 31% believe AI does more harm than good. Shifting the way AI is depicted in popular culture could help shift those perceptions, or at least that's what some techies and AI enthusiasts hope. Google has much more writing on convincing consumers that AI can be a force for good, or at least not evil. The hot space is increasingly crowded with startups and established players such as OpenAI, Anthropic, Apple, and Facebook parent company Meta. The Google-funded shorts, which are 15 to 20 minutes long, aren't commercials for AI per se. Rather, Google is looking to fund films that explore the intersection of humanity and technology, said Mira Lane, Vice President of Technology and Society at Google. Google is not pushing their products in the movies, and the films are not made with AI, she added. I guess that's good. Narratives about technology in films are overwhelmingly characterized by a dystopian perspective, Lane said. When we think about AI, there's so much nuance to consider, which is what this program is about. How might we tell more deeply human stories? What does it look like to coexist? What are some of those dilemmas that are going to come up? Google did not disclose how much they're investing in the films. The company said it wants to fund many more movies, but it does not have a target number. Some of the shorts could eventually become full-length features, Google said. Creators who work with Google are given access to tech experts at the company who can share more information about the technology. Does the technology in the script already exist, for example? How would it work in real life? AI has been a controversial topic in Hollywood. And it's funny because, again, it's hard to get around the idea that people are very frightened that AI is going to take their jobs, take their livelihoods, make them obsolete, if you will. Just watched a recent show, The Studio, with Seth Rogen, which is actually really funny. But the last episode, they had a part in there where people were very upset about AI taking creators' jobs in the movie industry. So AI has been a controversial topic in Hollywood, playing a major part in the 2023 writers and actors strikes. Actors fear their likenesses and voices being replicated and manipulated without permission or payment. Writers worry their work is being used without their permission to create AI-generated scripts and story outlines. Animation and special effects jobs could be gutted. Publishers and record labels have sued to protect their intellectual property. Negative public perceptions about AI could put tech companies at a disadvantage when such cases go before juries of lay people. There's one reason why firms are motivated to make over AI's reputation, so they have a better legal standing, I guess. Hopefully, there's an incredible amount of skepticism in the public world about what AI is and what AI will do in the future, said Sean Pack, an intellectual property lawyer at Quinn Emanuel, on a conference panel. We, as an industry, have to do a better job of communicating the public benefits and explaining in simple, clear language what it is we're doing and what it is we're not doing. Okay, all right. Well, they're trying to spin it, y'all. Spin it to win it. I remain skeptical. And you can do what you want, but I think a lot of people have a great amount of skepticism behind about the intentions of the people that are creating this, and it's probably a good idea to hold a little bit of that skepticism when using and or anticipating an AI-driven future. This is an interesting clip, if not infuriating. This is a guy who charges Section 8, his Section 8 tenants for luxury items such as, I don't know, ceiling fans. Okay, let's listen to this. Yep. Capitalism at its finest. Just figuring out a way to thieve from people that already have a hard enough time living as it is. I'm telling you, man, it's expensive to be poor. It's really expensive. Macron got slapped by his significant other on tape. It's definitely funny. Slapstick even. And everybody's wondering what the conversation was that happened or what was going on here. And maybe if there wasn't just a little more force behind that push to the face, than anticipated. Anyways, that's another subject for another day, but it's just it's the, oh, hello. Didn't see you there. All right. This is I played this man's words a few times. Is his name Shahid? I think I have. Shahid Bolson, yes. Oh man, this is just a great clip and really sums it up so succinctly. Let's listen. Oh man, really? Shoot, man, he was laying it down. There's no audio. Can anybody else hear this? I just want to make sure that this is um, not just a singular instance, but if there's no audio, no audio. What's the deal? All right. Well, we'll try it again. Okay. Thanks, Michelle. I appreciate you. Hold on. It's very important. I'm so bummed because. All right. Hold on one second. Because what he's saying, he needs to be heard. Okay. Let's try it again. Well, I'm going to play again. Please let me know if you can hear this time. Needs to be heard. That's all. Hold on. Let me just do it all over again. Hold on. Nope. Yikes. Sometimes it gets a little crossed up. So let's try it again.
genocide in Gaza being perpetrated by Israel and by the United States. That's 50 months of wanton, inhuman carnage playing out on everyone's smartphones. It's the most documented, the most seen genocide in history. There are daily massacres in Gaza, and Netanyahu has declared his explicit desire to completely wipe out the Palestinians in the most unequivocal language that any of us has heard since Hitler. And Donald Trump has signaled his absolute endorsement of ethnic cleansing. And at the same time, he's inventing allegations of ethnic cleansing against South Africa and pretending to be outraged about it. Look, you can't impose this kind of cognitive dissonance, this kind of hypocrisy, this kind of extreme moral and mental sadism on your population and not have some fuses short circuit. How are you going to be telling your own people that a genocidal war criminal is a brave man and give him standing ovations and give him billions upon billions of your people's money precisely to continue committing crimes against humanity and not expect them to learn the lesson that lawless violence is legitimate? Because for 600 days, you have demanded that the world watch a live-streamed genocide and then cheer for the murderers. You've made empathy a crime. You've made protest illegal. You've made justice unreachable. And now you want to cry foul when your own citizens finally break under the weight of your lies. No, you don't get to play victim now. You don't get to cry terror when you're the ones who have institutionalized terror financially, militarily, psychologically, economically in every corner of this planet. You don't get to moralize about violence when you send hellfire missiles against tents. You don't get to invoke the sanctity of life when you funded the desecration of life for nearly 2 straight years with no remorse. If you want peace, then stop blocking the path to peace. If you want nonviolence, then stop criminalizing nonviolence. If you want to stop the spread of hate, then stop building your empire on hate.
All right. Mic drop. Good stuff from Shahid. That is a shareable clip right there. I've already seen it multiple places today, so that's good. Oh, I'm sure there's lots of business for the rent boys, Malcolm, with those people. Yeah, that is a very succinct bit of verbiage there from Shahid, and so it really drives home the point of hypocrisy and callousness and cowardice. Which is why they're trying to change the messaging or the narrative, I think, around this, where they're trying to allow Michelle, yep. It's a great video. They're trying to allow the conversation to kind of drift over to the, we don't like what's going on over there kind of thing, right? Which may or may not be behind, the European nations, calling for a ceasefire. There was that, 4 or 5 days where supposedly Trump and Netanyahu didn't like each other, right? And all this theater that's going on. And I'm going to play a clip from the UK. And there, this is Ian Dale joining Piers Morgan on turning his back on Israel. According to Adam Media, this is coordinated. Zionism is no longer profitable. The order has gone out. Maybe. I kind of think that this is just narrative management, personally. I don't know that any orders have gone out to change the view on this. I think this is pressure release, right? Giving people a sense that maybe the tide is turning. Giving people the sense that, maybe not everybody feels is aligned in the elite circles. And it is a way to keep people kind of confused about what's really happening, or maybe turn people, tell people to go back to sleep on this whole thing, right? Like the whole Trump and Netanyahu, or they don't like each other. They're not like best bros anymore. Like that whole thing was intended to get people to go back to sleep for a moment. But it's still going forward. All of this is still going forward. All of this is going full steam ahead, the whole thing. But we'll listen to this.
Amichai Chikli, Israel's diaspora affairs minister, said this cowardice has a price, and that price is paid in Jewish blood. Outrageous.
By issuing their demand, replete with a threat of sanctions against Israel, not Hamas. These three leaders effectively said they want Hamas to remain in power. I say to President Macron, Prime Minister Carney, and Prime Minister Starmer, when mass murderers, rapists, baby killers, and kidnappers thank you, you're on the wrong side of justice. You're on the wrong side of humanity. And you're on the wrong side of history.
What an absolutely disgusting thing for him to say. Amichai Chikli, Israel's diaspora affairs minister, said this cowardice has a price.
It was a disgusting thing to say. High-level gaslighting. Full-on gaslighting. Here's Cindy McCain, director of the World Food Program, told Face the Nation that Hamas is not stealing the aid entering Gaza, which is what Israel is trying to say. She said incidents of looting are driven by the desperation of starving civilians. And there are too many videos and pictures of starving civilians. So let's listen to this.
Have this man-made catastrophe with Israeli authorities blocking the entry of all aid from March until about May 18th. The Trump administration said Israel needs to let in food. So are your deliveries consistently now getting through?
Well, let's start with the fact that this is a catastrophe, and you're absolutely correct. And I'm very grateful that you are covering this issue. They have let a few trucks in. This is a drop in the bucket as to what's needed. Right now, we have 500,000 people inside of Gaza that are extremely food insecure and could be on the verge of famine if we don't help bring them back from that. We need to get in, and we need to get in at scale, not just a few dribble of the trucks. Right now, as I said, it's a drop in the bucket.
So how many trucks need to be getting in daily to address the scale of the need you see? And can they get into northern Gaza?
Well, prior to during the ceasefire, I should say, we were getting in 600 trucks a day. Right now, we're getting in maybe 100, something like that. So it's not nearly enough. And it needs to be going to the correct places. So the various gates, it's inconsistent as to how the gates are open. It's inconsistent as to the roads we can use. The roads that are the better roads, the ones that can get us further along, aren't open at all. It's complicated right now. And again, I will tell anybody who will listen, we need to get in and get in at scale and be allowed to feed these people before a further catastrophe occurs.
Your organization announced at least 15 of your trucks were looted when they entered southern Gaza en route to bakeries. Israel has consistently said that the looting is being carried out by Hamas. Have you seen evidence that it is Hamas stealing the food?
No, not at all. Not in this round. Listen, these people are desperate, and they see a World Food Program truck coming in, and they run for it. This doesn't have anything to do with Hamas or any kind of organized crime or anything. It has simply to do with the fact these people are starving to death.
It has nothing to do with Hamas. None of this has anything to do with Hamas, because Hamas is just it's literally, the Al-Qaeda of 9/11, which is, we need to blame somebody in order to make this thing happen. And so that's the scapegoat. but there is no. It's not a war. It's not a conflict. It's just a genocide. So just assume that every single thing that comes out of Israel or the Israeli government's mouth is an absolute, is a lie, and just high-level gaslighting. And these people just cannot tell the truth to save their lives, or, And well, my thoughts on it. I feel like the same thing is going on with the war in Ukraine. This whole Trump's, we're gonna end the war, and man, we really want to end the war, and golly gee, there's a lot of killing and blood over there, but it just keeps going on. So the theater continues, and another in this theater. They're supposed to be having peace talks, yada yada yada, and here's Trump. Here's the latest installment of America, the Netflix series, and here's Trump talking about being really upset at that guy Putin. I don't know what he's doing over there. Which this has it's giving, Biden vibes, right? That Putin is a bad man. I don't know what he's doing. Here we go.
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him. But he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it.
He's literally saying, everything that Biden said about, the bad man Putin and what he's killing people, and next thing he's going to say is, Putin wants to roll through Europe, and we got to stop him. I feel like all of this is just intended to put people to sleep, to lull people, I don't know how many posts I've seen of oh my God, Trump is really moving the needle in Ukraine. I don't know. The war's still going on. We're still sending them, they're still, I don't know if we're sending them as much military hardware as we were, but it's going through other channels. Yeah. Yes, Michelle, we've asked them to be a little nicer. Yes, Swami, Hamas is a stick figure that the IDF plants at hospitals and schools, right? All of it. Very, very fake. So yeah, I just, any of the, there was a time when I was hopeful that maybe things could be different, but I have zero faith in that at this moment, and I don't see anything changing. Whether Trump is really confused, acting confused because he's supposed to act confused, you got the memo from on high. Yo, we need this to keep going. Here's other breaking news around this. The war in Ukraine is escalating to its maximum. Right. So meanwhile, they're supposed to be, talking about a peace deal, and now Putin's just bombing people, and we're going to allow Ukraine to send there's no restrictions on long-range missiles. NATO will no longer restrict Ukraine from long-range missiles. Germany lifts all range restrictions on long-range missile supply to Ukraine. German Chancellor Merz. There are no longer any restrictions. I don't know why I have to say the same thing 3 or 4 or 6 times. This means that Ukraine can now defend itself, including, for example, by striking military positions on Russian territory. Until a certain point, it could not do this. I don't know. I believe that this has been true and correct for a while now. This is not breaking news. But maybe more news to confuse. which is, seems like the point of it all these days. Not news, but just more confused. And, just people up in the comments like, oh my God, that's it. Germany signed its death warrant. Sure. Okay. I don't know how many times you have to hear this kind of stuff. But it seems like they're going in the opposite direction of a ceasefire or negotiations or an end to the war. It seems like they're going in more towards the escalate side. So is somebody really trying to end this conflict? Is anybody really seriously interested in ending this conflict? I don't see it. I don't believe it. And it's utterly tiring at this point to even talk about it. But this is from just a few hours ago. So this is Germany escalating it all, while Trump tells you that Putin is, I don't know what he's doing. He's a crazy guy. He wants to kill people. All right. He's a bad guy. He's got to be stopped. Guys, we got to do something. So yeah, just showing you this is a real story, not just on Twitter, but it's actually a story. It's good to check those things out, when you can. Yeah, I trust Trump to end this war about as much as I trust him to, fight climate change. So I just don't. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Nah. All right, guys, we're kind of heading towards the end of the show. Just got a couple more things to show you. Maybe one or two. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining. If you want to support the show, lots of ways to support the show. In the description box of whatever platform you're watching on, you know the deal. All the regular links are there. The usual links are there. PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, Zelle, Buy Me a Coffee, Ko-Fi, Patreon, Substack, etc. Many of you support the show on a regular basis, have supported the show in the past, continue to support the show. You know who you are, and I appreciate you. Let's see. Let's talk about this. This last post here about a Cleveland Clinic study. Again, telling us things that we already knew, or things that many people have known, confirming things that many people have known. What's happening here? Don't know. Here we go. Let's see if we can get this going again. Cleveland Clinic finding that the influenza vaccine had a negative efficacy of 26.9%. In other words, if you took this flu vaccine, you were almost 30% more likely to get influenza. So doing the opposite of what is supposed to make you do, making you sicker, not better. A vicious storm heading your way. Jay Gibbons, where is that? You got to go? Shoot, be careful out there. Batten down the hatches and all that. Um, anyways, you were more likely to get the flu if you took this vaccine. I think, and Grok says it's true, so must be true. No, that's not. But it is a real study, and the percentages are real.
This flu vaccine, you were 21. Welcome to this talk. Now, let me give you the bottom line on this video so you can decide if you want to watch. Large study at the Cleveland Clinic found out that the flu vaccine, the influenza vaccine over last winter, wasn't that effective. In fact, it had a negative efficacy of 26.9%. In other words, if you took this flu vaccine, you were 26.9% more likely to get influenza. Now, unfortunately, the paper doesn't give us details on how much money the pharmaceutical industry made from selling this vaccine with negative efficacy. Hello and welcome to this talk. Now, let me give you the bottom line on this video so you can decide if you want to watch.
Yes. How much money did the vaccine makers make off of negative efficacy? You know what? It was buckets and buckets full. And are they even going to have any accountability around that negative efficacy? I wonder. I wonder if that negative efficacy resulted in deaths or injury. I wonder. Again, where is accountability? Where is the where's the ethics lie in all of this? There seemed to be none. Oh yeah, Malcolm. People should watch a lot more of his videos. Yeah, he's very good. John, what's his name again? I can't remember his last name. Do you know off the top of your head there, Malcolm? I've played plenty of his videos for sure. John Campbell, thank you. Yep, he's good. Going south. Oh, you're good. You're good, Malcolm. Going south says, please read my piece today on UK solar SRM geoengineering on Substack. All right, man. We'll check it out. Let's see. I know you're on my Substack, right? There you be. I found you. Why they be spraying? Is that what it is? Okay. Is that the one? Oh, she's been talking about the UK SRM. Yeah. Well, they're all but admitting that, it's time. They're going forward. They're making the plans, right? It's going down. When it used to be just a year or two ago. Oh no, they're totally not doing that. They would never do that. We don't know what the results will, we don't know what that'll do. We don't know what that's going to do to the climate or the long-term health of the planet. And, it's just too many ethical implications. Oh, no, we're going to do it. All right. They're just going they're just admitting that it's time. Malcolm Young says, surprised they don't just put the dirty fuel back into the ships. Does the same. That's one of the things that really, boggles the mind, right? Because the huge spike in heating that we've seen over the past few years has been attributed to the banning of the high sulfur, the bunker fuel in the ships, right? They're forcing them to use a cleaner fuel to get rid of all the sulfur, and all the sulfur, all the particulates are coming out of the air from because they're not burning this fuel. So that's what's leading to but and while they're doing that, they're talking about having to do solar radiation management, which makes but maybe there's just, these things have been in play for a long time. So these forces are, slow moving, glacial moving, kind of, like, we got to get this dirty fuel out of the ships, right? And that's moving forward. While at the same time, the glacial moving forces of like, well, one day we're going to have to admit that we're going to have to do something about the fact that, it's so dang hot and we're going to have to start spraying stuff into the skies to give us a little cloud cover. So it is very confusing. All right, I'll check it out going south for sure. Guys, I got to sign off. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thanks for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. And y'all are smarter than the average bear. And I will see you tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Pacific. Until then, enjoy yourselves. And peace out.
Mm-hmm.